Today I'm in Barcelona and I'm going to tell you the story of a person who decided to build business based on one single product, Pastel de Nata. What is Pastel de Nata and how do you build business on it? We're going to hear from Elton. Elton, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Julian, for being here.
Can you tell us, please, what is Pastel de Nata?
So Pastel de Nata is the most famous pastry from Portugal. It's been created around the 1800s, the early 1800s, following a massive earthquake that destroyed Lisbon to the ground in 1755, then followed by Napoleonic invasions. So it was a time of scarcity and people had to be creative. The monks at the Jerónimos monastery decided to use the leftovers of the eggs. They used the egg whites to starch their robes. So they used the egg yolk to create pastel de nata, and they've also used other ingredients like sugar, milk, puff pastry, lemon zest, cinnamon, and I think that's it.
And how did you actually, what is your personal story with Pastel de Nata?
I have to give you a bit of context. So this was originally created by my two partners, David and Samuel, both they are brothers. And they've come in 2023 for a family trip, just going around, and they thought about having a pastel de nata or something that resembles pastel de nata, and they couldn't really find anywhere, so they saw a business opportunity there. Okay. I always had curiosity in the field of entrepreneurship or creating a business, so I've always wanted to have also a business for myself that was related to something that was Portuguese. So they've come up with the idea, and then in conversations we ended up coming together and ultimately creating pastel de nata. But in all fairness, none of us has really direct experience with pastel de nata.
Okay, so your background before creating this business didn't have anything to do with pastel de nata?
Nothing to do with pastel de nata, nothing to do with food. So Samuel was working in the real estate business. David has a business with car parts, and I came from nursing. So I was a nurse in England, I was teaching at the university, so completely a different field. All of us had to learn from scratch how to prepare pastel de nata.
So that's a really big change of heart, no? From nursing in London to pastel de nata in Barcelona. Just a more personal question, how did you sort of decided to make the switch?
For me, it was opening a business that was completely different from nursing. So having that separation between field that I was working and then something else. Obviously they came up with the idea, and then after some time the click, we just came together and ended up deciding opening this Bynata.
So the whole concept, and please help me understand, is to sell pastel de nata, but this means that the whole business is based only on this product. How did you decide to just focus it on one product?
We know it's a big risk because there's only on paper one product. But for us, it's such a good product that it is likely to be enough for a business to succeed, I meant. And obviously we've got something added, which is the coffee. That is something very traditional. But pastel de nata on its own has won the title of the best pastry in the world in 2025. And that gives us the certainty that it's a strong product to sell. Not only that, but as a business, we want to do something good. And a lot of businesses focus on one product. If you think about, I don't know, Crocs, like the shoes, they only focus on that product. But as long as you're able to do that product correctly and what you deliver is good enough, people will buy, will become clients, will become customers. So we believe that what we've got is strong enough that will allow us to continue working. That doesn't mean we won't be able to add things to our menu in the future, but we want to focus on things that will complement pastel de nata as opposed to take the spotlight. I can tell you, for example, we've been closely working with a company trying to get pastel de nata ice cream. Again, it's ice cream, but because it's pastel de nata flavored, it is likely not to take the spotlight from the product itself.
Yeah. Do you bake it here? Because I assume it's something that you bake.
The idea was to create something that would work easily everywhere, because our goal is to have this shop, but to expand. We want to have more. And we looked into getting a supplier that would produce something that is traditional, artisanal, and good enough that if it is replicated among loads of shops, will be the same.
Yeah.
We want the same standards. So therefore, we got in contact with a local company that produces Pastel de Nata. So gathers the main ingredients from local producers, which is important for us. So that makes it even more traditional. And once that's all done, it's frozen and sent straight to us, and we finish here. So it's a 50-50. Okay. We finish, we heat it, we use the whole oven, which is a very crucial part in the production of a Pastel de Nata.
Yeah. So when you say local, I'm assuming you mean Portuguese local.
Yes, I meant local to Portugal. Actually, it's a factory that uses products that are local. And if we want to upscale, I meant, the business, we know that the standard will be the same. So the Pastel Nata will be the same everywhere. Because if we produce it here and we got someone else producing it in another shop, there might be slight differences, from the milk or sugar, I don't know. And we want to have to be standard.
I see. So the concept of expanding involves being able to offer the exact same product without having any differences in quality.
Exactly.
How did you find your supplier? Is it something that you typed on the internet and you looked for them, or was it from a word of mouth?
It was a mix of internet, word of mouth, contacts. There was a lot of work trying to find a supplier that is able to produce a lot but maintain quality.
And let's talk a bit about the ingredients that actually go into Pastel de Nata. And to somebody, and I assume many people who are watching us have not tried Pastel de Nata, how would you describe Pastel de Nata to somebody who has never tried it?
That's difficult. It's unique, but what we've noticed is a lot of people tend to match the flavor to something like crème brûlée or crema catalan. I think that's because the ingredients are very similar, although the flavors, they're not the same. But the feeling when you have it and you eat it is similar. Think about having that sweetness wrapped up in this very puff pastry that is incredibly crunchy. So it's when you eat it, it's like you feel like you're home.
Would you mind actually showing us then? Because I see that you have Pastel de Nata, but then you also have it flavored.
Yes.
So can we maybe take a look and actually maybe even try?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, so here we actually have the actual product. But I have a question though, because I've tried Pastel de Nata and I've been in Portugal, and I know that the original Pastel de Nata only comes in one flavor. And here I see you have 4 different ones. Can you tell us what is this?
So you're absolutely right. In Portugal, most Pastel de Nata are sold as classic, and that's what most people will go for. Still the king. But we went with some variations because, as we talked about, we know that we are mono product. We only have one. So we want to make sure that we've got variety, and therefore we added, at the moment, 3 more flavors. We've got pistachio, we've got raspberry, and chocolate.
Okay, so one way of expanding the menu without increasing the number of products is actually to bring a different variations of the same product.
Exactly.
That's a good strategy, because then you keep the focus on the actual product, but you manage to offer something different to the client.
Exactly, because some people will come in and say, oh, I really want to try, but I'm not sure. But then they might really like raspberry or pistachio or chocolate. From a business perspective, might actually gain you a few more consumers. If they really like raspberry, they are more likely to go for a raspberry Pastel de Nata. So.
And as a Portuguese, what would you say is the key ingredient, or what makes a good Pastel de Nata?
From a Portuguese perspective, all is the classic no flavors. For us as a business, we need to expand. I think the Pastel de Nata has to have 2 main key components. Have an extremely creamy cream, if I may say, and has to be sweet but not too sweet. Has to be firm but not too soft. Has to be right on in that spot. And then the outside be extremely crunchy, because the contrast between the sweet, the cream, and the crunchiness of the puff pastry, that what gives Pastel de Nata their unique properties and makes it so popular.
And how do you consume Pastel de Nata? Do you usually consume it cold, or is it warm?
Because we have it fresh all the time out of the oven, it's still kind of warm, so we serve it warm. Most people will love it. I mean, one of the signs usually is people when they nod their heads while they're trying, and they feel that crunchiness, like, and then they're like, So warm is probably my favorite. I will say that also followed by an espresso coffee.
Oh, okay, so
Incredibly
you always
traditional.
complemented with the coffee.
Yeah, and that's why we also have coffee, because again, it's something that will complement, will heighten the experience, but not take the focus out of the Pastel de Nata.
What type of people come in, and do you see more local people, or do you actually see foreigners who've been to Portugal?
We want to appeal to everyone, and what we notice is with the locals are becoming frequent flyers, frequent customers, which is very good for us as a business. But we also attract a lot of attention, and we have a lot of tourists visiting Barcelona. There is a lot of interest because it's becoming more and more popular. A lot of people come in because they've tried Pastel de Nata at some point in their lives. So it's a mix of the two. Portugal is becoming a popular tourist destination. I think as well because Ronaldo made it very popular. And it becomes a connection. And this is what we want as well as a core foundation of the business, is something that people can link, feel connected towards. It's not just selling a product and going, but also having that connection. So we've attracted a lot of people because of that. So that becomes a common topic of conversation, and at the same time, it heightens the experience.
So let's talk about the location. How did you choose this location specifically?
This location was a bit of an accident. We live not far from here, and we were walking past and we noticed that this place was for renting. We became interested in this specific spot, and we've assessed the amount of people that walk past throughout the day. So we came back a few times, like at night, in the morning, in the afternoon, so we could assess if it's actually a place that it would be good for the business. And the truth is, location is probably 50% of your advertisement. We noticed that it's a connecting avenue that connects Plaza de España with the marina. So it was a straightforward decision.
How many square meters do you have here?
So at the moment, the whole place is about 73 square meters.
Okay.
The part that you see and access is 30 square meters.
And do you feel this is a lot, or do you feel that you actually needed more?
So this is actually quite good for the concept we've got. So we have this grab and go concept. If you notice, we don't have any tables.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to walk past and think, oh, let me just take a Pastel de Nata and a coffee with me. This is the base of the concept. So the space itself is good for that.
Yeah.
Because if it's too big, it becomes too awkward.
Yeah.
Because we don't have tables. But if it's too small, it's also quite difficult to manage. If you notice that we don't have much stuff around, there is a lot of yellow. There is a purpose to it. It's obviously one of the colours that it's closely related to Pastel de Nata, but also it's quite eye-catchy. So we've had a lot of people that were just walking past on the other side of the road, driving on the bus, and they just said, oh, I looked at your shop and I noticed it, and then I was curious about it. So that's another element. But the minimalistic part of it, it's not that we don't want things, it's just that we want things that will bring the focus to the Pastel de Nata. And the location, for example, we used to have another shop close to Sagrada Familia, and it was initially opened by David and Samuel. And although it was a very good location, what they learned, and then I learned with them, is that you might be very close to Sagrada Familia, but if you're not in the natural path of people, of tourists, people won't deviate from their path to go and grab a Pastel de Nata. So that was going well, but the numbers weren't as high as we wanted them to be. So we've changed to this location, which is obviously prime because we've got loads of people walking past.
Okay, let's talk about a topic that I'm sure is interesting for a lot of people. Profitability and costs. We obviously did talk about you having one location that closed down and now you open a second one. When you started in the beginning, did you use savings that you had, or did you go for a credit?
Everything was savings, yeah.
Okay, so basically...
Yeah, so mostly savings. I know that we didn't have to invest millions, so it was okay, but obviously if it's way bigger, the business, you might have to do that. But for us, pretty much savings. And
how much did you need in the beginning to start?
As a range, 20 to 30, but I would say at least 25 in the middle. Let's land in the middle. 25k, 25,000
euros.
Okay. But the range might vary from 20 to 30, and this is because the place might be ready to be used. The place might need a lot of work. For us, we needed to do a lot of work here. You also have to buy equipment and so on and so on. the glass, the paying machine, the oven, the everything. So
Did you hire a company to do the interior changes, or did you work?
it was actually half-half. So we hired a company to do the things that we don't know how to do. Some of this is a wall that was built here. They didn't exist because we can work behind, and there is a secret door on the wall. And we hired a company to do those things that we're not able to. But then some of the things that we can do, we did, so we could cut some costs. We applied the floor, we've applied all the furnitures, we've painted some of it, and decorations and so on and so on. That's why I give you a range and I don't give you a precise value, because if I hired a company to do everything, it would be way more than that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And obviously it's different for every location.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That would depend. Okay, and if we talk about licensing, I know that in Barcelona it's very complicated, but how did you get your licenses? Was that something that you bought readily, or did you have a different approach?
As you said, Barcelona is quite complex, and it depends on the type of business you have. If it's a grab and go, if you're frying or cooking in the backstage, or if you're just selling to people as a grab and go concept, it changes a lot. We hired a company to do that for us, and we have to navigate the waters. It's always difficult because you might have barriers that you are not expecting. You might, in your mind, have this perfect business that has everything, but sometimes the legalities of it doesn't really allow you to go full on as you had in your head.
Does the company actually obtain the license for you, or does it help you understand what are the things you can do having what you currently have?
50-50. So it helps us understanding, and it also helps us getting the licensing. In the food industry, people usually expect it to have become profitable within the first 12 to 24 months.
Okay.
We kind of have that goal to start with, profitable. We're actually quite lucky. So that's good on us. It means like it's something with potential to succeed. But there are things that we did not know about. For example, Barcelona in August, it's dead silence, nothing happening. So we did not expect that because, again, we come from a different reality. So we come from Portugal. I've lived many years in England. So the realities are a bit different. So we expect August to be maybe a bit busier. And for us was, let's say, a bad month. We still had profit, but it wasn't as good as, for example, the month that we started with.
So if we talk about profitability, maybe it's important to say, so in terms of the monthly costs that you have, you're able to cover the costs. And when we talk about breaking even, we would say, okay, the initial investment being returned from the profits. But if we look only at the month's picture, you would say that you are able to cover the costs and you're being profitable on a month basis.
Yes. For us, we are lucky, as we talked earlier. Rent is not too high. It's according to the market value on this avenue, which averages between 1,000 to 2,000 per month. We follow the rule that rent should not be more than 15 to 20% of your revenue.
Okay.
Because otherwise that could compromise your business.
And for somebody who's watching us to understand better, what other costs in a month can you have? You already mentioned rent, insurance, but what else is a typical cost that you would have?
I mean, you've got your bills, you've got water, electricity, and there are things that people sometimes don't think about, like the payment machine. You have to have a subscription. You have
you pay monthly for the payment machine.
Yeah, things like that. Okay. So those are things that add up to your expenses. At the end of the month, you notice that there is some equipment that would be really useful, and you have to buy it. So there are costs that are always hidden.
Do you have a marketing budget?
We are trying to allocate about 5 to 10%, but more towards the 5, because it's really important nowadays.
And what sort of activities do you do to promote your business now?
So at the moment, we are trying to be very active on Facebook, Instagram. We need to be on TikTok as well, because it's something really big. We also have a company that is helping us promoting things like Google Maps, because it's really important as well, like the reviews. When people go on the map, the thing that comes up first, and being on the top when you search for our shops.
Okay, so your way of attracting customers is through social media, or do you also do something that's here on the spot?
Word of mouth is super important. We've had loads of people coming in because a friend has recommended, a friend has mentioned, a family member said something about the shop, and visibility outside it's been a big one. In here, what we try to do is attract people that is walking past. So sometimes we have small parts of Pastel de Nata cut so people can try, and that sparks that curiosity. And sometimes we're able to get those people in, some others we don't.
And in terms of targeting your customers, do you also plan to at some point get to businesses? So offer this not only to people that pass by, but also offer to a more corporate.
So what we want to do is we want this to be a brand that people think about when they think about Pastel de Nata. It's the same as if I tell you smartphone and you say Apple, and therefore we don't want to go into the route of just selling our product to someone else so they can actually sell it. And we want to either be in full control, but being able to do partnerships. So I think partnerships would be more important.
Okay. What has been your single biggest challenge so far?
That's a good one. I do think that the biggest challenge has been creating the need for this product, because most of business they come up as a response to a need. So, you know, I need this for my car to work, so that part is created. But for us, people need to eat, but they don't necessarily need to eat Pastel de Nata. Yeah. So I think the biggest challenge is trying to create that need for the consumption of our product. And that's quite difficult because it's not as cultural as it is in Portugal, having the Pastel de Nata, but although widely known. So is, I think, trying to fill in that gap.
So you sort of also need to educate the people.
Kinda, yeah.
And now, as a entrepreneur and as a businessman, how does your day look like actually?
It's a very intense day. It's from morning to night. There are no days off, especially at this point at the beginning. The vast majority of the day is obviously getting everything, the Pastel de Nata ready, getting this place ready to open doors, working on, once that's open, working on the social content, and then kind of navigating the day as the needs comes up. And then it finishes at night, and then the day restarts in the morning again. You need to know that will be a lot of sacrifice. If you want something to work, you need to sacrifice, especially time and energy into the project. So that's something that people have to bear in mind. That will be really, really important.
For Bynata, as a business and as a brand, what are the future plans? So
at the moment, try to optimize as much as we can the current shop. This location, because the truth is, this is a grab and go concept, but there are things that we learn along the way, and we have to be able to take those things in, digest, and take action. And for us, might be actually, for example, changing the layout of the shop, because people walk past and there is a lot of interest, but we want people to come in. So we might want to reduce that gap between the interest and the purchase. So maybe changing the layout and so on, and then hopefully in the future going into franchise and get more people this available to everyone. If they want to have their own business and just sell Pastel de Nata, some coffee, or we open those shops. So it's still a bit open.
So you're keen on building the brand as a brand where people can come in and say, hey, I would want to be part of your business and open a franchise.
Yes. And in all fairness, there has been a lot of interest. A lot of people have come in.
Oh, they've already been...
Yeah. Some people have come in from Portugal, other parts of Spain, Austria, England, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. I mean, we've had loads of people coming in and saying, you know what, this would really work in my country, in my town or my city. So that's why we have to take what is given to us and then just adjust accordingly. Because if we have a very fixed mind, it might work well, but if you don't take the information that is presented to you every day, you might not succeed. So you have to do that. It's a balance of wanting to progress, but also progress in the right direction. No,
that's beautifully said. Thank you so much, Elton. It was a great pleasure for me. I wish you all the best to you and your partners with the brand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.